Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're having an amazing evening. We're a little bit later tonight, but we're here. How was your day? How is everything going? You guys seem very upbeat in X, so I'm going to get used to calling it X, right? Anyway, join us. We are live right now. It is 7:24 p.m. and it's Tuesday, July 30th. Crazy. We are halfway through the year and a little more. Last thing you know, we're going to look back and boom, 2024 is gone. And what have you done with your year? What have you done so far? It's halfway through. Have you gotten any of those New Year's resolutions on point? Done any of those goals that you had in mind? Or you're still waiting for another new year to go ahead and take your list and, start over? All right. ¿Cómo estamos, amigos? Buenas noches. A ver si me ponen aquí los comentarios. Estamos como empezando de nuevo, es como una semana y ¿cómo se hacía esto? Bueno, únanse a nosotros, bienvenidos. All right, guys, let's go ahead and begin. Let me do this. Binge drinking. Ooh, I saw a video, I think it was 2 nights ago. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Jenny. It's my birthday today. Amar. Wait, oops. Oh, there you are. Sorry, when I say that, it's because the comments disappear. Amar, happy birthday. Hope you're having an amazing birthday. And if it's not amazing yet, make sure you make it amazing. Another year. You just have to be grateful for being alive, for being here, and for having what you have. It doesn't matter if it's little or much. Remember that our health and just the fact that you have 2 legs and you can see and you can smell and you're living, kicking and screaming, well, that is more than enough. So be grateful for the little things, and I hope you have an amazing year. Oi, Brasil, boa noite. ¿Cómo está você? ¿Cómo están, brasileros, amigos? Hi, Alex. Hi, Ronildo. Interesting, not Ronaldinho. Okay, guys. Muy bien. El famoso binge drinking, ¿qué opinan? So, have any of you ever done binge drinking? I know it's something that kind of just started happening, apparently, for the past couple of months. I remember when I was in high school, it was more like it was like the binge drinking existed, but with beer, like the beer kegs that you would stand up in and you would drink, like that was a little bit more the thing back then. Saludos, Uruguay. Jorge, ¿cómo estás? Buenas noches. But today, apparently, the binge drinking is happening with just pure liquor. And I saw a video a couple days ago with somebody that's very famous on YouTube that had one of his friends do the binge drinking, and it was literally like a huge ass bottle of vodka. I mean, it wasn't like a normal size. It was huge. Oh, amazing. Thank you. So I'm like, do you really love yourself that little? You binge drank with bourbon? Ooh, that must, how did that go? I think I've only binge drank once, but it was, for that keg stand, it's what it's called. It was a birthday of somebody, and I'm like, I'll try it, but it wasn't so much. So, but yeah, I mean, you think about it, and it's like, how little do you love yourself when you actually drink a whole bottle of vodka at once? And what we're all looking for is acceptance, or you're looking maybe to be cool or to stand out, right? You had to quit your bourbon. Yeah, that made sense. I'm glad you quit. I hope you quit. We're living in a stage in mentality, right? In a mentality stage where it's so important to be accepted. So in teenage years today, imagine how difficult it is with social media and everything. I think it's a little bit more difficult than any other year that we've been in, because, well, there's so many different styles and mentalities and lifestyles that are happening that, I mean, come on, kids and teenagers, I think, are more confused than we were when we were in school. So just like we would see in the movies, right? Like the bullying happens. Yes, these things happen. And like we were saying the other day, the most important thing is for you to focus on getting that self-esteem up. Okay, so then that kid is not going to go out and try to have people accept him or her, but actually just being an individual, not standing out or standing out for their excellence. But the most important thing is not feeling bad when people are pressuring you. Peer pressure is something that happens at any age, but when we're immature and learning and when we don't have a solid base in our life, then it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to be easier to get influenced to do something that you don't necessarily want to do, but you don't want to be called, like a chicken. So it's just like, all right, fine, and the peer pressure wins. But a good self-esteem where you know that you are loved unconditionally, I think it's the most important thing. Hola, hermosa, saludos de Argentina, saludos, Henry. Argentina muy presente hoy, qué bonito. Bueno, espero que estén aprendiendo su inglés y practicando. Estamos haciendo un poquito más inglés hoy en día, pero intento hablar lento para que vayan practicando y vayan aprendiendo. ¿Cuántos de ustedes han tomado alcohol así? Lo popular de hoy en día de los adolescentes, de lo que estamos hablando ahora, es el binge drinking, que es básicamente tomar mucho alcohol muy rápido. I need to remodel my apartment for a reason, but now I'm with you. I'm glad you're taking a break. It's time to relax. It's that little half hour to just talk about something else that's going on. Anyways, going back to our topic. Hello, Ireland. Going back to our topic, if there's a trick, that you can do that is actually taught in meditation. If you have somebody that is younger or older, there is no age in this, you can actually whisper to them when they're sleeping and just tell them that you love them. Of course, the younger they are, the better. A lot of times we, you can be growing up in a space where you might have love from your parents, but it's not all that shown every day, and maybe they're not very verbal about it. So maybe you're left out because they're going to work too much and you don't see them as much. So you seem to get that space inside of you where you're missing that love. So that is when peer pressure actually kicks in and can do disasters. But it doesn't matter how old you are. This is something that all of you can do. And it's, go to your kid when they're sleeping, right? Very, very slow. They don't know you're there. Very gentle. And just tell them, you are the most beautiful person in the world. Your parents love you with all our hearts. Okay, and you are great. Basically, all of the words that come to mind when you think about them and how beautiful and how great you want them to be. So when we're sleeping, our mind is still, it's very open and it's absorbing information. So the voice, especially if it's the voice of a parent or somebody that they admire and they love, is going to be recorded in their subconscious. And if you don't get to see them enough throughout the day because you're a hard worker, then try that trick. Stay longer than 30 minutes. My laptop told me to get my spyware, but otherwise it continues to survive. We'll see how it goes. So are you, Jenny? My parents loved me. That's amazing. I'm really glad that you were raised in a very positive environment. It's unfortunate that not everybody gets that privilege. So, and a lot of people do, they love their kids, but they're just not there. Like my dad, for example, I had that parental emptiness when it came to a fatherhood because he was always working and I would never see him. And it was kind of that kind of relationship where it's like, you can call me if you need anything, right? But that was as far as it went. So yeah, believe it or not, coming home from your job, even if you're not seeing them all day, and doing that whisper and hugging them without waking them up, of course, it's going to really sink in their subconscious, and that's going to help them with their self-esteem. And even if you do show them love through the day, try it out and see how it goes, because you never know what your kids are going through in school. I mean, have any of you been bullied? I think everybody at some point in our lives have been bullied. So people that are missing love and people that are going through difficult situations in their life are going to just bring them out when they come to school. So if there's another kid in the school that is lacking love, their way of feeling good about themselves and getting that self-esteem up is bullying other kids. So you make sure that there's enough love inside that little person, and anybody could be saying anything, and it's not going to matter, because they know that the most important thing for them is the love of their parents. So they're going to come home from that. And if you haven't been in that kind of situation, if you haven't been raised in an environment where your parents did show you love and it's too late and you're already older, and you have low self-esteem, that you need to forgive them. Okay, there's somebody tweeted like a month about not forgiving people that really hurt him, and basically saying really, really mean stuff. And I'm like, you have your reasons for not wanting to forgive someone. I mean, I'm sure some people have had parents that have been just really horrible and miserable. But the thing is that if you hold on to these grudges, if you hold on to these negative moments in your childhood, which is basically one of the most important parts of your life, because you are forming yourself, okay? This is where the traumas start, and that is when they end up reflecting when you're older and affecting you in your job and your relationships, not being able to maybe to be faithful, or not being able to keep a job, okay? So make sure that, you do go through a stage of understanding that, hey, we're not perfect, and we can only give others what has been given to us, right? So if you don't understand how to give love, and you had a parent that didn't know how to give love and did the total opposite, it's only going to be the right thing and the healthy thing to do, to let go of that. And yes, of course, it's difficult, but the number one thing is to understand. Just like you are an adult today, right? Nobody expects you to be perfect. You can make mistakes. And if you weren't taught love, then how are you supposed to teach it, right? But it begins with forgiveness. It's such a strong, powerful emotion and process that once you start to live with that method, right? Anybody, it could be something recent, or it could be something from when you were a kid. Once you start to practice forgiveness, but I mean, like, really practice it, you're going to get to the point that you're going to be releasing all of these grudges and negative emotions, and eventually you're going to heal. And I think, if anything, that's what everybody's looking for. So how can you forgive? That's a question that everybody does, right? Like, how can I forgive somebody that ruined my life? Well, they ruined your life, but you're deciding for that to take over the rest of your life. You have a decision to make, and that is today forward. Do you change it, or do you continue to be a victim? A lot of people just like to be victims, and if they hide behind the, blaming somebody else for their problems and not doing anything about it, it's just so much easier, So being aware that this is something that you need to do, and having the guts to do it, right? Being strong-minded and saying, well, if my parent didn't show love, it's because they probably didn't receive it. So yes, they could have tried harder, but let's be honest, generations prior to the ones that we're living in today didn't really have all this like mental illness problem. They didn't really have the solutions either. Spirituality wasn't a thing. The study of the mind wasn't a thing. Psychology was kind of So there is so much self-help out there today that it's just a matter of, do you want to change? Do you want to have a better life? Or do you want to just continue to suffer? And you have that choice. So by accepting and understanding, your parent was a human being, or is a human being just like you, and if they didn't show you the love that you deserved and that you needed to have a strong self-esteem, it's because they didn't have one either, and they didn't have someone to teach them to have it. So that is the first understanding. That would be the first comment. It took me 3 months to say that Carolyn is my girlfriend, Jenny. I met her in the laundry room back in 2000. Aw, that's amazing. See, you can meet the love of your life in so many different places. Did I watch the open ceremony of the Olympics? I did not. I only saw what was posted on X, and I despised it. I thought maybe, maybe it was a great performance, but I don't, I don't like the message that it was giving. We talked about that yesterday. Jenny, did you receive plenty of love from both of your parents when, and then I can't read it, when I was growing up, I think you might say. From my mom, absolutely 1000%, yes. From my dad, in his own way. Like I said, he was always working, and we have a ranch in Uruguay, so he would go there for months. Sometimes we wouldn't see him in a year. And like I said, it was that kind of like, if you need anything, you can call me. But that was about it. It was always my mom's responsibility. Like, he just kind of washed his hands. But his family also had, the generations before. You have to look at the generations before your parents. What would they like? Like my dad came from a generation where their brothers would fight. His parents wouldn't talk to a brother in his family, for example. Like, he was vetted from the family. It was a very strong Italian kind of blood. Like, I hate you, and that's it. We're not ever going to talk again. Very strong character, descendant of Vikings. So not something to be proud of, I guess. So yeah, you have to look into how your grandparents were, how their parents were, and see, well, that is the fruits of what your parents were. And if they didn't do anything to better themselves because maybe they didn't know they had a choice, now you do. Everybody in living right now has so many self-help options that it's really just a choice to be miserable or to continue with dragging, right, these negative patterns of generations before us. You can be the one to cut that pattern and start over. Good evening, Dedra. My mother came from my grandmother, who was born in Russia. Of course, your mother came from your grandmother. That would make sense. Let's see. It's 5:40 in Pakistan. Amazing. So yeah, remember, you have the power to change that. You have the power to change the curse of generations. I'm very happy because my niece has definitely, she cut all her mom, me, my mom, like we've all made sure that she cut all the negative things from generations in the past. So the next generation, when she has kids, it's just going to be beautiful. She's 18, she's in soccer, she's now studying to be a pilot, she has her diving certificate, she was the #1 in all of the high school, right? Having scholarships for any university that she wants. And just overall super just relax and chill and pure. So of course we taught her about sexual energy, and she's very spiritual, and she even has a gift of energy, just like I did when I was that age, and I do now. So it's just a choice. And when you learn, right, like let's say you're watching this and you do have somebody that's younger in your family, and it doesn't have to be your kid, it can be like mine, like my niece. Give whatever you can teach them, of course with the appropriate acceptance of their parents, and you can teach them. Jenny, as your father is deaf, you mean if my father died? Yes, he passed away a few years back. You got to break the cycle, absolutely. Let's see, guys. You should. Okay, so let's go with the binge drinker and see what psychologists say. Says this. I remember seeing this a lot in Spain when we traveled there for our filmings. You would have, since 13 years old, there would be kids in little towns in Spain where I guess you would call it kind of like the mayor of the town, would put buses out to make sure that the kids would get home safe, because he would say, well, they're going to drink anyway, so you might as well have them home safe and have somebody driving them. So I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense. It's a good idea, but it's kind of like 50-50, right? Like, is it good because you're aiding them and you're telling them it's okay to drink? When you're at that age, your liver, all of your organs are not developed 100%. So that's why it's so crucial for you to just wait to do all of these adult activities, okay? Being drinking or having sex. There's a reason why there's an age for that, and it's just very simple. You gotta, how they say, like, when you're a kid, just be a kid. So yeah, that's about how it is. Okay, guys. So what are teens doing today? Is like they actually drink high amounts of alcohol in very little time, and in the Mark of Botellones, which is a place in Spain, where youngsters basically just have to ingest more than 5 cups in a very short time, approximately like a game of nature. It's like they're competing against themselves. They're competing against themselves to see who can chug the most. And the video that I saw a few days ago, it almost kind of made me throw up because, I mean, a whole bottle, could you imagine binge drinking a whole bottle of vodka? I mean, how are you even standing up, after that? So it's something to keep in mind. In space, what is dominated today is binge drinker. Let's see what psychologists say. This phenomenon is also used as a conductual thread in the last campaign of prevention called by a company called Dual. Says they're living in atracón, which is basically like you're stuck. Like they're living in a stage where they're stuck. Juan, saludos. Ya hemos repetido varias veces. Jenny Live está en vivo en Miami TV, no en el canal de Jenny Live ni otro canal. Solamente estamos en vivo en Miami TV. Así que bueno, bienvenidos a Miami TV. Viven la atracción. Says this is the place where people do. And another thing in Spain, people would go and put out cars, and they would open their cars and have just alcohol. And that was what you would do in the weekend. Okay, sorry guys, I thought this was a little longer. 1 second. There you go. It's in Spanish, so let me translate. I think you have a good singing voice. I used to sing after filming in clubs for so long. My voice really took a toll. So I feel like I've recovered it, but not 100%. So, but we gotta come out with a tune. It's gotta be a positive energy tune, right? Like a positive, positive vibe energy music. This type of activity is very normal in festivals, for example, but it happens a lot in small towns. An appropriate amount of alcohol is debuted amongst people that are actually underage. And maybe last year they were playing sports, but today the number one thing to do, because it's something popular, is actually binge drinking. The ritual happens in a really early age, but when you have to go to a larger group that maybe concerns with like a gang, it's like they're doing these little like alcohol gangs. The older one brings the younger one into the group so that they can learn to binge drink. This is crazy. So there's debuts and competitions of how much you can binge drink. Okay, well that basically just says that whoever's doing that is obviously has too much time in their hands. When you make sure that at a younger age, people are very busy doing sports. I think sports is the best thing because your body is awakening, your sexual energy is awakening, you're going through puberty, so all your hormones are all over the place. Sports, it's the best way of you actually releasing all of those hormones. So keep that in mind if you want to be a future parent. What was that? Make sure that you're incorporating sports in some way or another in your kid's life. Jenny, fly to the moon, yes or no? Would I fly to the moon? No, I don't believe that. I don't think the moon is real, you guys. I think the moon is there, but I don't. Yeah, I think it's artificial, and it's some kind of. We're going through another subject now. Artificial and something to watch over Earth, let's say. Hermosa, gracias. True, forgiving gives you strength. If you have the upper hand, meaning if you have the ability to forgive and you're not forced to do so. Nobody can force you to do anything. I think this reminds me of a specific classes I took a long time ago. Like what? Hello, while I'm watching you, I'm also making strawberry, how do you read that? Strawberry rhubarb pies? Okay, I mean, strawberry pie, I know what it is. I don't know what rhubarb is, but that's amazing. Okay, so let's think today, before we leave, who do we have? What kind of triggers do we have in our life that we know we don't want and don't belong to us. Maybe we have triggers and specific characteristics about ourselves that we want to get rid of. And let's think of our parents now, okay? And let's think, well, what do my parents have that I don't want to carry along to the next generation? Or think of something that they've done maybe when you were younger that you still hold on to, and go through your process of meditation. I know that it's not something that a lot of people love to do. I know that a lot of people think that meditation is boring, but the thing is that it's your best personal therapy and personal healing. So all you have to do is be present, which I think, if anything, start there. Start being present. And by being present, just you have to be aware of where you are, what you're doing, what you're talking about, your breath. Okay, if you can't concentrate, make sure you're focusing on your breath, and then think about that characteristic that you have. Maybe you have a low self-esteem, or maybe you don't believe in other people, or maybe you're very grumpy. Okay, you're very pessimistic. Maybe you always say that, oh, money is not enough. Remember, money is also something that we are, that it's programmed into our mind. If we are raised in an environment with our parents, we're always saying we don't have enough. You are actually repeating these things in your mind, and you're attracting them. So our mind doesn't know what no means. When you say something, I don't want this, it only understands I want this. So we have all these stigmas, and we have all these ideologies in our minds that have been recorded there for so many years, that it's really, really simple to get rid of. It's going to take a little time, that's all, but the number one thing that you need to do is want to do it. If you don't want to do it, if it's not something that's coming from within you, that you're willing to do this exercise, then nobody could do it for you. Jenny, we've been following you for a long time. I'm sorry, can we go up a little bit? Okay, we've been following you for a really long time. You still look bright with time. Oh, thank you. Never boring with you, Jenny. That's the idea. So let's go back a little bit and think, okay, if you have any of those characteristics in your personality, try to see when this started to appear in your life. There's always one time or a stage in your life, maybe when you were 16, maybe when you were 13 or 18 or younger, as far as you can remember, that characteristic came along into your persona, and start to erase it. Okay, and how do you erase it? You basically just think of the moment. You forgive the person that made you feel that way. Okay, if they made you feel like you weren't enough, if you had a parent that didn't know how to show you love, you go back in time to those moments when you suffered. And I know it's painful. Nobody said it was going to be easy. Nobody said it's easy to grow spiritually. In fact, it's the most difficult thing to do, but it's what we're here to do. So all you have to do is get on board and do it. So go back in time, relive that moment, okay? And then you're going to replace it with the best moment that you've lived so far in the past year or 2 years, something that really, really makes you happy. So you're just basically rewiring your brain, and you're teaching your brain that this isn't a feeling that you want to have any longer. And you're going to, first of all, of course, by forgiving the person for making you feel this way, and accepting that this happened, and putting it behind you by replacing it with a feeling of comfort, of love, and acceptance. This isn't something that you're going to be able to do right away, one day, and it's over. You're going to have to do it with time, but it's absolutely worth it. You don't want to spend thousands of dollars in therapists when you can do this by yourself. Of course, it is real that sometimes some of you might need a little guidance, okay? So for a lot of people, there's things in our lives that you have so secluded into your brain, and and the fact that it's almost like you shut them down. Did you know that we shut down memories just because it's our survival skills? We can have these shocking moments that we totally block out and decide we don't want to remember. So if you are going through a stage where you have anger, where you don't have stability, you have everything that's basically going wrong for you, you want to just start going back back and doing these exercises so that they can get better, because for some of you it's not that bad, but for others it's really, really bad, and a lot of times you don't know where they are. So you need somebody to kind of guide you through the process and take you through time. That's kind of like a little regression. That is why those bags have this message: friends are more important than money. Okay, I don't know what bag you're talking about, but sure. So yeah, just patience, I think it's important, but forgiveness more than anything. And why am I talking about this? Because and I know we started talking about binge drinking, and it's all related, you guys. You know, if you have somebody that's younger that you're helping growing up, if you have kids, right, or if you have a niece, or or whoever, somebody that you're taking care of. Make sure that they don't have these situations, that they don't have these traumatic moments where you're yelling at them and they don't know what they did wrong. Remember that when we're learning, we're specifically there to learn, so we shouldn't be so hard on younger minds when they make mistakes, but we should be trying to have them make the least mistakes as possible. And helping with their self-esteem means not having to do these exercises when they get older that most of us have or have had to do. So the purer we get to our older age, right, with as little as mistakes as possible, well, the better it's going to be for our mental health, the better it's going to be for us to attract the right partner, and the better it's going to be even to attract the right job and to have a successful life. Because at the end of the day, everything is energy. So if your energy is pure, you're going to attract everything you want. That's why they say the mind is so powerful. And people will go out and deny that, saying, no, it doesn't work for me. These things don't work for me. Well, you're just, it's for everyone, but not everyone has the perseverance and the guts to actually go along with it, because they give up halfway. So don't give up halfway. Be strong-minded and say, if there's something you need to fix, you can fix it by yourself. Maybe a little help here and there, but in the meantime, just start already. That's why I had 4 psychiatrists in a period of 13 years. Ooh, yikes! That's not fun. I don't think psychiatrists, no, and you're probably being medicated. So I'm totally against that. I know, they're doctors. I'm not, obviously, but I think everything can be healed, and you don't need any pills. And that goes for health also, unless it's totally necessary. So just start to look at your emotions and your traumas and things that you have today that you need to get better with. I have both the way you just said. You had, okay. All right, my loves. We'll continue tomorrow. If you have any questions, of course, let us know. My email is jenny@miamitv.com. And tomorrow we will have another Jenny Live. If you have questions, or if there's something that you're going through that you want me to discuss and we can all discuss together, then of course also let me know. We can keep it totally anonymous. Kisses, guys. Stay positive. Be good. And start your process of positive energy and mental health. Bye.